It is the Thursday Sports Cage. If you're watching the stream right off the hop, you realize we are not the corner of 12th and Rose. We're live on location again. It's Sharky with me.
We've been on the road a lot.
Yeah, not the places that we said we were going to go.
No, we haven't been to Swift Current. We haven't been to Moose Jaw. Nothing.
Charlottetown.
Charlotte.
St. John's.
No, Charlotte. We're going to go to the race at Charlotte.
Yeah, we're live in the basement of the Connexus Arts Center. We're getting ready for the Rams, University of Regina Rams dinner this evening. It looks really nice in there.
It does. They get it all decorated up. Looks good.
We're going to be joined by tonight's speaker, John Randle, former NFLer, Hall of Famer, Minnesota Viking. He's going to join us in hour 3. I'll work backwards here today to tell you what's coming up on the show. Hour 3.
It's going to be hard for me now.
John Randle. Hour 2, Mark McConkey, head coach of the University of Regina Rams, who made the
Hardy Cup champion.
Cup champion.
Regina Rams. Yes.
Hosting the Vanier Cup next year.
That's
is our
exciting.
city. Mark McConkey, we haven't talked to him in a while, and we went on a run of talking to him. It was so much fun.
Was.
Every week for however many weeks when they were on their Cinderella-ish run.
Cinderella style.
Yeah. Clutch performer. Stay local on that front. If everyone has got one, I got a good one from last night. Arash Madani in hour 2, of course. Arash probably wants to get into March Madness. That started today. This is the time of the year, like I said the other day, when we all fill out a NCAA bracket like we know what the heck we're talking about, and we don't. We don't even know where half the schools are. Creighton. Where is Creighton? Creighton, Saskatchewan is near Flin Flon.
It's right outside of Flin Flon. How can you miss it?
Wow, they have a good basketball team because they pulled off a massive upset today. Shout out Flin Flon, Manitoba, and Creighton, Saskatchewan. Hour 1, Dave Thomas is going to be with Jeremy O'Day. It's the general managers and coaches are all gathering at a hotel in downtown Regina and doing a little media. Dave Thomas said he will have Jeremy O'Day for us. Colson, can you hear that in the background?
It's always nice they test the music and things right as we go on.
Loud. We might have to go shut that door over there. SJHL rundown tomorrow starts the playoffs. Big day. We're going to recap everything local. Also, tomorrow on the show, first half hour, we're going to reveal a new member. Little shake up for the Roughrider Radio Broadcast Network team.
Wow.
Tomorrow.
This is news.
Tomorrow. Yes, it's obviously not you.
That blank look on my face gave it away. I have nothing to do with it.
People would actually probably like that. But that's tomorrow. Rider Broadcast Network team will tell you who's joining the squad
That's
this
exciting.
year. It is. Always, we welcome your communication, whether if you just want to chirp us or give us a heads up on something that's going on in the area, or tomorrow, tonight, a player of a clutch performer.
Just like this tidbit we got right here.
Exactly. Send it in. It is the Prairie Land Rentals text line 936-6262. Prairie Land Rentals since 1986 for big or small jobs. You can stop in and deal with the owner. 600 Albert Streets. 936-6262. Okay, let's start locally.
Get me caught up last night. Lumsden Raymore. What happened there? Senior hockey.
Going to game 3.
Well, it was going to anyway because it wasn't a best of 3.
They're playing game 3, sorry.
Yeah.
Tied 1-1.
Okay.
Last night it was Lumsden. Double overtime. Sorry. Raymore in double overtime. 6-5. So game 3, 8 p.m. Saturday at the launch pad in Raymore. AAA midget last night.
Yes.
Moose Jaw.
On the verge of elimination.
Staying alive.
Nice.
It was double overtime. A 3-2 win. They go to game number 5. Friday, 7 p.m. Temple Gardens Mineral Spa Facility
Arena.
Center, Rec Center. So that will be exciting as well. Regina Pats, they're in Brandon tomorrow to play the second place.
No. The sixth
place.
Sixth place.
Isn't it wild?
I'm looking at this going, this is nuts, man.
So if we go process of elimination, or we just go off what teams have. So Brandon's got a home and home with Regina.
So let's and this is no insult to the Pats, but we're going to give Brandon 4 points.
But the Pats beat Swift the other night.
And a game Swifty really needed to keep themselves in the mix.
And people are like, why would the Pats win that game? Because they're scrappy.
You don't quit.
And
you don't quit.
There's all these young kids out there, and Brad Haroff and Ryan Smith, the coaching staff, are saying, win. Just go and win.
You don't learn anything by losing.
And it's a percentage of the ping pong ball for the draft, but part of me is like, I don't know, but then part of the competitor in me is like, well, yeah, how do you just roll over?
You don't.
And that's where coaches would have to kind of coach to put kids in situations where your odds are, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
But the Pats didn't do it the other night. So you're thinking Brandon's got 4 points?
Brandon's got a ton to play for. Like, really do.
For sure.
Okay,
Marty Murray's boys.
So let's give Brandon the 4.
Okay. Saskatoon
and
PA. Like, so Matt Young from CTV has been updating on his Twitter feed what the seat situation is like.
I got to imagine PA sold out.
If it's not, like, what else is going on PA? What's going on?
There can't be that big a bingo going on. They got to be
sledding. Maybe big. There's a poker rally.
Could be.
Is that what they call them?
Could be a poker rally.
Remember when that poker rally up there was kind of the first super spreader of COVID? The one in Christopher Lake. People were dishing out buns and everything with hands, and then they're wondering why it was our first super spreader. It's like, everyone was like drinking from the same cup and getting all that done. But yeah,
everybody shared the same spoon.
I'm just looking up where it was in what it's sitting in Saskatoon. This was an hour ago. Seating capacity 11,488.
Okay.
Tickets sold 9,156.
So room left in
23 Hyundai.
Room left in Saskatoon.
What an atmosphere.
Yep.
And that is Friday night. I'm going up to the Bridge City. People call it that. I'm going home Sunday because Gabby's playing game 2 of Provincials, Saskatoon on Sunday. I'm going up Saturday. Dude, does a guy drive the hour in 10 minutes to the Art Hauser?
Oh, why not?
Cliffy Mapes, Mike Sissons.
Yeah, you make
the fellas.
A call. Cliffy help you out.
I'm not worried about getting in.
Okay.
I'm just saying, I think it would be a good time.
I think it'd be a great game to be at.
That's actually not a bad play.
Now, hang on. Well, if Saskatoon wins on Friday, PA's got nothing left to play for.
Oh, okay.
Right? PA's fate is determined.
So,
yeah.
Friday night in Stooner, Sask Place. We're getting text messages already about this. What are we screwing up? And then so Swift is pitted. They're going to be 8. Swift's going to play Medicine Hat or Calgary.
No.
Colson, are you throwing up the standings on the feed? Because we're looking at the standings here.
Yeah.
It's real interesting. Like, if you're a hockey fan.
Super tight. Yeah, Swift has got Medicine Hat or Calgary. They don't play each other. I believe Medicine Hat plays Lethbridge this weekend, right?
See, Matt Young just messaged at me. You do drive the hour in 10 minutes.
There you go.
If PA wins on Friday, though. Because if PA loses on Saturday, I'm basically just going to PA, probably going to hit them all.
Yeah.
Pick up a fat burger.
Exactly.
And drive back home.
Your
maybe play a few hands at the Northern Lights. Who am I kidding?
Yeah, Medicine Hat's got Lethbridge. Calgary's got Red Deer. Who's Edmonton got?
As of right now?
To play.
Well, Edmonton would be doing, is it a Red Deer?
No, Calgary's.
We'll look that up. But anyway, it's real interesting in the Western Hockey League. The Regina Pats are in Brandon taking on the Wheat Kings tomorrow. Then they're back home Saturday. It's the last game of the year. It's fan appreciation night. It's media appreciation night. The Regina Pats and Brandon Wheat Kings last game. Go and watch this scrappy bunch, and then put it all in the back of your mind for next year. These guys, I'm really interested what happens. Brad Harrell's done a heck of a job.
He really has.
And I know a lot of people, they're like, oh, you got to get rid of the coach. Do you know what they're doing? Yeah. Do you understand how this works?
What the process is.
A rebuild.
Yeah.
And he's done an Al Miller, done a good job of bringing in, making some moves. They got tons of capital. So the Pats, the sneaky thing, the Pats are 4 points up now on Moose Jaw.
Yeah.
And Moose Jaw's in, obviously, next year country.
Very much so.
Moose Jaw's kind of in who cares country. Because Edmonton's got their pick.
Yeah, they really don't care if they finish last or not.
Unless you go to the old-fashioned rivalry between Pile of Bones and the Band City. Moose Jaw wants to shaft the Pats. So they want Edmonton to have that six balls. Because Edmonton, if you're following along at home, I guess like we said the other day, if you're playing along at home, Moose Jaw's pick belongs to the Edmonton Oil Kings. The Regina Pats have their pick in the Bantam draft, and the Kelowna Rockets have their pick. Those are the only three teams that have a chance of getting the first overall pick, which is probably Maddox Schultz.
Should be Maddox Schultz.
The other thing, too, I heard about this Liam Pugh the other day. I'm not going to name who told me. Guy that watches a lot of hockey, great player, big. But he plays in that, we'll call it a Div 2 of Academy, the Academy leagues.
Yep.
Again, somebody's going to text me right away and let me know what the name of it is.
It's not quite the same level of competition.
Well, Maddox is 14 playing AAA midget.
Yeah.
And he's leading the league. Like
not just snuck the league title, he won it.
If Maddox was playing in the better Academy League, which is like this, what is it, CCHL or whatever, who knows how many points he would have in the Bantam League. Yeah. So he's in a different level. This Liam Pugh is bigger body. And I think he's going 2. Some people think he might not even go 2.
I haven't seen the kid play. I can't tell you.
So that's what we're watching right now. Is we're watching the standings on who's going to play who for your Saskatoon Blades, Prince Albert Raiders, Brandon. There's a lot of people in the Brandon and Moosomin and all that area that listen as well. Who's playing there? But we're also really watching on who doesn't win hockey games between Regina, Moose Jaw, and Kelowna. And I think Kelowna has kind of cooked themselves. Well, they have the same amount of points as the Regina Pats.
They do. Yeah.
So Kelowna could be dressing players like in different gear. Could be like an adult safe game. Who's that guy?
Have you thought of playing goal yet?
Who's the guy in the half cage out there?
Where did he come from?
And he's playing house league in Williams Lake.
Kelowna's got Kamloops for 2. What does that look like? Where's Kamloops? Kamloops is also out of the playoffs. That's a battle for last place in the West. So not going to be very entertaining.
Lots going on in the Western Hockey League. Tomorrow, SJHL playoffs. Fire up. Yorkton, Melville. They're starting it in Yorkton. Saturday, they take the day off because Elvis Stoico is going to twirl.
I thought you were going to that.
I never once said I was going to that. Nothing against. I was a big. Hey, I was rooting in Calgary in the Olympics and Lillehammer. I was there rooting for Elvis Stoico.
He's 53 years old?
Yeah, and we looked up the picture. Not only can he still skate, which a lot of 52-year-olds can still skate, he's probably doing, what are they, double axle? Maybe he's probably down to a double instead of a triple.
No quads anymore.
But he had a tight shirt on, a tight bodysuit shirt. At 52, you're there. You're not wearing that.
I can wear one. It just looks pear-like when I do it. I can wear tight. It's just not good.
So Yorkton, Melville fires tomorrow in Yorkton. Weyburn hosting the Battlefords. Very intriguing matchup.
Yep.
In that one. Shout out Martin Smith and his Battleford squad against Cody Mapes and his Weyburn squad. Flin Flon and Humboldt starting in Flin Flon.
This is the one they said's the goalie series.
Shout out, what's Daryl Kennedy's boy's name? He plays for Humboldt. This is last season yet. Yeah, I think Daryl said he's making the trek up to the Flon.
Wow.
To watch that one. And then the number 1, Melfort Mustangs. Number 8, Kindersley. I might try and get Trevor Blevins on the show tomorrow. Text Blevs. Ask me if he can hop on. So SJ playoff season. Circling all the way back around to senior.
Okay.
Before we go, last night, Kenniston won the Sask Valley Hockey League over Kyle. The series is done. So Kenniston hangs another banner in their barn. Nauticue, Yellowgrass over Assiniboia 5-3. They stay alive. They're down 3-1 in that best of 7. I love when a senior loop goes 7 games.
So do I.
The moms or the wives, especially of young kids, do not like it. Can you just get the season over with, please?
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out Yellowgrass over Assiniboia 5-3 last night. And then curling, Rachel Holman. She says she's going to be into the playoffs.
She had that big win over Switzerland last night.
Big win over Switzerland. She is in to the playoffs. I don't think we know who she plays yet. With time change and stuff, it's given me a nosebleed watching this schedule. Plus the world curling. No offense to anyone out there that's part of this Curl It website. It's not the best looking. Yeah, it's very hard to. So Canada is playing today in Korea, which actually is tomorrow. Sorry. They're taking on Italy, and they're also playing the upstart Chinese squad.
Yeah.
The Chinese ladies, you never know. They are battling for, I think, a playoff spot as well. Italy's in go home country. They're booking tours for the weekend before their flights. Hey, shout out. We're not streaming on YouTube today. I have no idea why. Colson fixed it. We're back up.
Thanks,
so if you want to watch us on YouTube, we're live at the Connexus Arts Center. Sharky and I are both wearing sport coats, and we're also streaming.
We have a court appearance after this.
We're also mine's in PA. We're also streaming on X and of course on 620 CKRM. Right on. Welcome back, SportsCage. Barney and Sharky, if you're watching the stream, you see us in sport coats. We're in the basement of the Connexus Arts Center. Tonight is the University of Regina Rams dinner. Excited for that. Of course, head coach of the Rams, Mark McConkey, going to join us in hour 2, like I said. And then in hour 3, we're going to be joined by NFL Hall of Famer, former Minnesota Viking, John Randle. I bet you Arash Madani wishes he was
I'm sure he does.
Interviewing
He's a Vikes fan. Can you imagine?
Yes.
He's so excited.
Thanks to everyone who's texting in the Prairie Land Rentals text line, 600 Albert Street. Get to deal with the owner. Prairie Land Rentals. Thank you very much. 936-6262. Colson said he's working on it. If you didn't join us on, I think it was Monday, we talked about Colson, Curtis, and I. Sheriff, sorry, there's only 3 seats. How funny it would be to load up a half ton with just the half ton, the old school, just the bench seat, no back. Kids don't even know what that is anymore.
Gun rack.
Yeah, just 3 guys, and you'd always see the people driving 3 people, and it's like, well, that doesn't look comfortable. Or the guy that had his arm around his girl and was driving on the bench seat. That guy's a 1980s, 70s stud.
But it looked weird if somebody was sitting beside her.
Yeah, like her mom.
Yeah.
But anyway, I said we should take one of those old half tons. There, it's on the stream right now. Colson's got it up. Roscoe and Kindersley.
Is that a Datsun?
That thing is not making it to Fisk, Roscoe.
Let alone Flin Flon.
Yeah. So I was saying how funny it would be for us to roll to Flin Flon in one of those and document it. So thanks to everyone who listens to the show and plays along like that. That made my day. That was really funny. I think Colson said he's going to tweet it out. For people that aren't watching the stream, you can check it out on the on Twitter, on X later. Thursdays always for Access Communications, trusted in rural Saskatchewan for internet, TV, and home security.
Trusted in my house, too.
Back around to rural Saskatchewan. We're going to talk about this tomorrow, too, but Wolseley Junior C Mustangs, they're taking on Yellowgrass in the final. The final series, the championship. Somebody's walking home with a banner and a trophy anyway. This will be game one. It's tomorrow, 8 p.m. at the Wolseley Sportsplex.
I know exactly where it is.
Wasn't there a crib tournament recently that we gave a shout out to? And what was that last year?
When they were trying to be Craft Hockeyville, they had a crib tournament.
Craft Hockeyville, yeah. They had a big event in the crib tournament.
Yep.
Guaranteed 1,000 scoots for 50-50. And go out and cheer on the
Gotta be there to win.
The Wolseley Junior C Mustangs versus Yellowgrass tomorrow, 8 p.m. What else? Anyone else? 936-6262. Prairie Junior Hockey League, Junior B.
How did the...
Well, they're good. Like I said, they're probably watching tape of the Edmonton Oilers last year when they went down.
So they're down 3, are they?
When they went down 0-3 to the Florida Panthers. Now that is all you hang on to and say, hey, just get it to 7.
Win your shift. That's all you got to do. Win your shift.
To 7, because last night it was Fort Knox 7-2 over the Capitals.
Oh.
Madden Wallace, friend of the program, had 2 goals. Leland Cody had 1-1. Zane Winter, he stopped 40 pucks in the win. It's tomorrow at the Ritchie. Do or die for the Regina Capitals.
Win your shift. That's where it starts. Yeah.
Yep.
Don't get deeper than that.
Okay, so you brought this up. We got Dave Thomas and Jeremy O'Day standing by in a bit here. You brought this up. You were at an establishment buying some libations.
Yes, some delicious tasting
we can
beverages.
Call it alcoholic beverages.
Yep.
We're of age. It's not illegal. You found out something very interesting in Saskatchewan liquor stores.
So Saskatchewan Liquor and Gaming Authority is said you can sell what you have, but there'll be no more going forward available of these products, including Twisted Tea, the Anheuser-Busch family of products, and the Coors Miller family of products. So not the Molson family, but the Coors Miller family. So this is kind of a miss on the government's part, and I'm not going to slam them, but somebody didn't do their research as to who they're actually punishing with this. The Anheuser-Busch products are owned by InBev, which is a company built out of Brazil. So they're not actually...
Brazil.
Yeah, we're not having a trade war with Brazil. That's not even I don't even think we trade that much with Brazil, to tell you the truth.
No, hair product.
I don't know how much goes back and forth.
Lots of hair product.
So we've got that going on. That was a miss because we're not affecting the United States. And the Molson Coors Miller Lite family, all those products are brewed in Canada. So that's actually an interprovincial trade war we're starting that we don't need to start. That's what we're creating. So I think it's a miss on their part. I mean, if they want to go after American products such as wine or the bourbons or American other spirits, that's fine. But I think they missed the bus on this one altogether.
Colson, sorry, what did you say?
Colson? I've heard that Brazil loves our potash because their growing season down there, they can have 2 to 3 crops on in a year. So they love our potash for fertilizer.
Very helpful.
Little known fact, I think everywhere that grows anything loves our potash.
Yeah, I don't think it's exclusive to
fertilizer is key.
But that list, I mean, I get the Jack Daniels attack, right?
Boy, you're just all about the free plugs, eh? We don't have any liquor sponsors sponsoring the show right now, so go nuts.
They're banned. It's not a plug if you're banned.
I'm not a bourbon guy. Actually, I heard Last Mountain Distillery is trying to fire up a bourbon.
Yeah, but there's a certain thing to it that you have to have that's only in Kentucky or in the States that to be actually called a bourbon.
Deep South accent.
It'd be bourbon flavored something. It'd be what it is. Lots of seltzers are on that list.
Lots of seltzers.
Lots of iced teas, Southern Comfort, other American beers that I don't know who makes them and sends them here, whether they come directly from the States. Anything with Mott's Clamato already in it will be banned. So
is Mott's Clamato an American product?
Remarkably, it is. I didn't know that. It is an American-made product, and they don't even sell it down there.
My buddy Josh Miller from the Monday Nooner podcast.
He'll be hurt.
He's got to stock up.
I love Clamato juice.
Pallets.
I drink it by itself. And,
are you that guy on the airplane that orders tomato juice?
I would, yeah.
Yeah?
I love it.
I get it why people do it. Something about being on an airplane that makes you want like a salty and tomato juice. I go more ginger ale. It's like one of the only times of the year I drink ginger ale, unless I'm sick.
Do you know what's the other thing? When you're in the airport, it's okay to have a beer at 7 a.m.
Yeah, Matt's talked about that on the show once.
The rest of the time, it's not suitable in life.
Especially if you're going like an all-inclusive.
Yeah.
You know the people that are going somewhere fun, and you know the people that are going to Calgary for like a business trip and back that night. It's like they're sitting there hammering back Caesars, beer and clams at 7:45 in the morning.
Yeah, can't get them fast enough.
Cargo shorts. And then there's the guy dressed like us right now that's like, oh, I better close this deal on Calgary. If I don't close this deal, and my wife's going to leave me. And these guys are just having a great time guzzling.
The stewardess is just running back and forth with cocktails for him.
Yeah, that's that list.
It's a long list.
I thought there maybe be 3 or 4 on there. It is long, and there's a lot of things that people like. The good thing for me, and I'm not saying this to be cheesy, a lot of the stuff I drink is very local.
Yeah.
Like Last Mountain Distillery, their gin, I'll put up against some of the best gins. And I love, did I ever tell you that? I don't know how much time do we have here. Ever tell me my gin story?
Go ahead.
I won't give a free plug. We're in the second time we went to Scotland, was Glenn Suter is right now. He's actually texted me this morning at 3 a.m. I'm going to St. Andrews. What do you want? And I'm like, don't worry about it. Maybe I'm going to text him in a bit, see if he went.
Get 2.
Buddy Chad Bobrick, who's going to be here tonight, he tried as many different beers on the 10-day trip as he could. He hit 96. And he doubled up a lot. And one night he drank whiskey. He's a machine. So then I'm like, well, I'm going to try as many gins. They're kind of known for their gin in the UK, right?
Yep.
So I tried all these gins and I just loved this one. There's 2 that I really love. And this one, and then I'm like, hey, duty-free store on the way back. And I'm like, oh, it's here. I'm buying it. Boom, bring it back, get it home, put it in the fancy spot of the bar downstairs.
All set.
And I'm like, this will only be for special occasions. Like, this is going to last me 10 years till I go back with Roman in my 50th. I'm at an LBS in Normanview. I see this gin. I'm like, oh, I look, it's made in Kentucky. It's Hendrick's. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I was so fancy over there. They might just have been like, you clown. Do you know that this is from North America? Yeah. So that was, I'm at the Normanview LBS. I'm like, oh, wow. They have that here? I don't know. It's
that's quite a story.
World popular gin. What a pigeon. That's what I am. Yeah, exactly. Clap away.
Hey, but if you do need liquors from Saskatchewan, there are tons of local distilleries and breweries. If you can't find them, look around.
For sure.
Everywhere. And some great products.
Don't be that beer snob or that alcohol. I'll never drink that stuff. And it's fine. It's good. People come over here and love a lot of our Saskatchewan made products.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, we have this like, because it's here, some people, or it's because it's made here, I don't like it. So I'm kind of looking at you while I talk about that.
There's just a particular set of products that I'm just not a big fan of.
Okay. We run down kind of the local scene because that's what we do here. Big time local. I said Dave Thomas, Jeremy O'Day standing by. Before we go to them, NHL.
Yep.
Calgary is in New Jersey tonight. Very curious to get eyeballs on this one. And that game, Calgary, that they had, what did they did 13 shots, and they won the game in New York against the Rangers.
Yeah, crazy.
That's almost the record. One time they won a game with 12 shots on that. I was listening to the fellows.
How would you like
Fan
to be
960.
the goaltender? Yeah.
Yeah. So Calgary,
I did my best.
Calgary's in Jersey. Toronto's in. I'm going through the Canadian teams. The Leafs are in New York to take on the Rangers, who probably want some sort of payback. Senators are home to the Avalanche. Very interesting game there. Montreal travels to the island, take on the Islanders. And what else do we have? Winnipeg, Edmonton. Oh, yeah, Winnipeg, Edmonton tonight.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Winnipeg didn't look too good in their last game.
No, they've looked a little sluggish.
Measuring stick there for sure.
I still like Winnipeg going deep.
Vancouver is not in action this evening. The other game of note that I wanted to talk about, Alexander Ovechkin, home to the Philadelphia Flyers. So how many? What has he got?
8.
8 games left.
Well, he's got 8 goals to
8
get.
goals, and it's like.
Oh, hang on, just a second. Getting there. One moment. Talk amongst yourselves. 8
goals for Alexander Ovechkin. So I went down the rabbit hole last night, late, couldn't sleep, and I'm like, goals per game, NHL. How many would Mario have had?
Holy
He was a prolific goal scorer.
He was. He could score at will.
His goal per game is like .70.
Yeah.
Gretz, I call him Gretz because I know him. Gretzky and Ovechkin, like .60.
Yeah.
Bossy was the highest. Michael.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that. I mean, how many years in a row did he get 50?
Lots.
Yeah.
So how many games left does the Caps have? They go 7. They got 10 games left?
No, it's 82, right? 82 or 84?
Didn't they go down to 78?
No.
So 14 games left.
82.
82 games.
82 goals. So he's got 8 goals in 14 games.
Is there one game that he gets like 2 or 3?
I don't know.
He's going to need that. Is tonight a night? Philly. Big rival.
Philly could be a spot.
Close to each other. Take the train or bus or however they get to those games.
They get the Sabres on the 30th.
Yeah.
Oh, they got the Blackhawks on the 4th.
Well, I like the poll that the guys had yesterday on the show. Was will he get it this year? Do you want it to be an empty netter? I can't remember who won or what was the leader in that poll, Colson, but it was a good one to see. Yes, he'll get it.
I think he will too, Colson. I do.
Does he do it in an empty net?
I'll tell you what.
Does he double clutch?
They're going to feed him like crazy. Like, I mean, the Caps are already guaranteed a playoff spot. They're pretty much guaranteed first place in their division. They know they're going to be the top team in the East. Watch them feed Ovechkin mad.
Is there any harm in him doing it next year? The marketing.
Well, it'd be a little anticlimactic.
No, I think it'll be
one to get.
I think it'll be better because right now you got all the hype of the playoffs and all that. At the start of next year, you have the hype of that marketing wise.
It could screw them up a little bit going to the playoffs because they're focused on the wrong thing. Instead of preparing for the playoffs, they're trying to get him that goal. So that could be a bit of an issue. But hard to say. Hey, look, they got Beefeater gin over there. That's pretty special too.
It's the SportsCage. We are live at the Regina Rams dinner, streaming sportscage.com on X. And as always, the home of the Regina Rams, 620 CKRM. CFL Combine going on in Regina. Starting tomorrow is when they get their athletic gear on and start running around. Today is kind of the coaches and the managers and all that. He's live with us, standing by right now. Let's throw it over to Dave Thomas, who's got Jeremy O'Day with him.
Well, guys, joined by Jeremy O'Day, the Vice President of Football Operations, General Manager of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. What's the emotion set, or what's your thought process as we enter this CFL Combine?
I mean, it's always an exciting time when you get to see the next group of players that are coming up, either through youth sports or NCAA or even some cases junior football. So it's always nice to kind of get them all in one place and have your whole staff here where your staff can converse with them and evaluate them. And it's just, I mean, this is what we're doing for a living. So it's pretty exciting when you get to come out and watch football players and talk ball.
The football athletes talk about evaluation, but they also say the ultimate job interview. So can you really be that swayed that much, doing all the homework that you've done on these guys previously to this weekend?
I mean, I would say that, players can move up or down a couple rounds through the combine. I think, if they don't test out well or if they test out really well, they can move up. If the interview doesn't go well, there's some players that we've interviewed in the past and we're not so sure that this is a guy for the Roughriders. And so that's what we try to figure out through the interview process is will he fit in with our team? Will he make us better from a personality standpoint? And then the testing kind of takes care of itself. It's really just you're looking for a range for the players to be in. Obviously, some players will test out better, but there's not many times where 5 years into a player's career we look back and say, well, what do you run the 40 in? So it's used now, but I said once they're into the league, it really comes down to how you play football. But all this is just one piece of the resume, right? So you can look at their testing and how they measure versus the other guys that are in the combine, but you're ultimately also looking at the tape. You're reaching out to their coaches and getting feedback on their coaches, former teammates, strength coaches, and it all goes into one big evaluation.
I would love to say that, I completely understand analytics. The numbers I can see, but I don't understand what goes into them. But when you view analytics, is there the eye test as well that you need to pass, and is one more important than the other?
The eye test, you're gonna, you can only see so much from looking at a person standing there in front of you. You do need to know what he's going to measure in at, what he's, how tall he is, what his weight is going to be. Some guys look heavier than they are, and they're actually not, and vice versa. They look light, and they actually come in at a good weight. So they're just all pieces of the resume. We have a lot of numbers in each player's files. From their arm length to their hand, their hand size. You can dig as deep as you want into it. I do get a kick out of, at the end of the day, the analysts are looking at it and they say, well, he's got short arms, and that's their one thing they're going to point out on a guy is that he's got short arms. But you factor it all, you factor all the things in. Some of them way more than others, but ultimately you want to know that they're going to be in a range where they can go and compete to be a good pro football player, and then from there you're relying on the tape.
If someone was analyzing my performance right now, they'd be upset that I'm about to editorialize. I think it's unfair to try to pit combine classes against one another, being stronger or weaker than one. But what type of caliber athlete do you feel is involved in this year's combine class?
Well, I think, everyone always asks, how's the class? And, ultimately there's always some positions that are strong and some maybe that aren't as strong. You feel like there's going to be more depth, which all those things weigh into your philosophy of how you're going to draft. So if you feel like, there's 4 really good defensive linemen that are on the board still, and you think you might get them in a later round, you might tend to take a different player just because there's not as many quality players in a different position. But it's all based off of your needs and the strength of the draft. So I always say that there's good players in the draft in every position. I just think sometimes there's a little bit more depth in certain positions in every draft class. I think that this draft class in particular, I don't think we're going to have as many of the Canadian players that are getting drafted in the NFL. So it should lead for a good group of players for us to pick from.
I know you're busy. 2 quick questions. Number one, when you look at this weekend as a whole, I'm sure you've devised a game plan going forward. We're going to make sure we talk with this athlete or see how they do in this battle drill. Does that game plan, though, change? Do you have audibles that may happen over the course of the weekend?
It does. We submit our interview list of players that we want to talk to, prior to the combine, and some things can change during the combine. If someone comes in and they test really well and you said, I don't know if he's on our interview list, we can change it. For the most part, we can also get on the phone with them after the combine. A lot of our local players, we actually will bring them over to the stadium and interview them at the stadium versus using a spot during the combine. So we usually catch the local guys right in our own house whenever it's possible. But it can change. You might be going into the draft with your draft board set up or your grades on a particular player, and he kind of pops during the combine, and you said, maybe we need to go back and take another look at him and see if we evaluated him correctly. So it's really just checks and balances through the combine, and but you can change as you need to.
Lastly, I've had the opportunity firsthand to see the commitment that the Roughrider organization has made in the province to grassroots football. And that, of course, means growth in the sport, not only in participation, but in the caliber of athlete that's coming out. I'd submit that the athletes that are here, they're a lot different than the athletes that maybe were at the combine when you graduated, or heck, when I graduated and we're still watching this in black and white. Having said that, what has that investment done? Has that made the athletes that much stronger?
Yeah, I would say as a whole, I think that the athletes are better prepared, both physically and mentally, for the combine than they have been in the past. I think that it's maybe a credit to the youth sports coaching staffs, the strength programs that they have. But 20 years ago, you were coming to them and you were saying, boy, some of these guys doesn't look like they prepared for the combine. Now these guys, they have agents, they have good role models that kind of let them know what to expect in the combine, so they're prepared. Some of the interviews, you swear that they have already answered the question 10 times, and they've already gone through it with their agents. So I think they're a little bit more prepared. But overall, I'd say that to me, it seems like maybe because I'm getting older, it feels like they're still continuing to get bigger and faster, and more prepared for testing events.
So glad you didn't laser on me on that one. J.O., appreciate this. Enjoy the weekend.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
Welcome back. We are live. Connexus Arts Center.
In the bowels.
Sharky, Barney, the sheriff, and Colson back at the ranch. Curtis has a couple of days off. Old mail it in Curtis is on holidays for a couple of days. Okay, couple of local things. Hoopla starting in Saskatoon. Remember last year when you got in trouble?
Oh, man, was I in trouble. I was so unpopular that week.
Because I don't want to get back into it.
We're not doing it.
But
cheering for everybody this year. Let's go.
1A boys competing, St. Joseph High School. Yeah, that's where they're playing. Sorry, I'm going to be like, St. Joseph. Did they lose a lot of kids? Priestville, Leask, Porcupine Plain, Hafford are competing in. And 2A boys, we have St. Brew. That's the home of Borgo Industries.
It is.
LCBI, Norquay.
Out of Outlook.
Yeah, Norquay and Saskatoon Christian School. 3A boys, Oxbow Clavette, Regina Christian School, and Waldheim. 4A boys, Moose Jaw Central, Regina Harvest City, Regina Luther, Regina Johnson. That's a total south battle.
Yep.
No one from the north competing in 4A. And the 5A, the Big Daddy, Walter Murray Marauders, Swift Current Comprehensive High School, Regina Riffle Royals, Saskatoon St. Joseph, I think it's Guardians, Saskatoon Holy Cross Crusaders, Regina Campbell, Regina Martin, PA Carleton. Let's go PA.
You take
upset. No, I'm just hoping for them.
They come in as a 6 seed.
And that as for
Interesting
girls.
how they bring in 8 for the 5A and 4s for the rest. Yes.
On the girls' side, let's give a shout out to Kenaston, home of the Blizzard, taking on. They just won another Sask Valley Hockey League, and then that rink's going to be packed on Sunday. We'll get to that later. Foam Lake, shout out Laker Country. They like their G-dub there. Kerrobert, the senior team's called the Tigers. I'm not sure what this high school team's called. And Priestville. Oh, this is so much fun to watch. The intensity. 2A girls. Southie. Hey, shout out Southie. St. Brew.
So the boys and girls from St. Brew. Nice.
Yeah, big basketball country. Wilkie and Norquay. Norquay again. Like their basketball there. In, what is this? 3A. Wynyard, Regina Christian School, Indian Head, and Lanigan. 4A girls, Moose Jaw Vanier, Harvest City, Meadow Lake, and Moose Jaw Central. And 5A girls, Regina Laboldis, PA Carleton, Regina Miller, Holy Cross, Saskatoon, Walter Murray, Saskatoon, Regina Winston Knoll. Yep. Shout out Winston Knoll, Swift Current, and Saskatoon St. Joseph. So there's a little rundown of hoopla that's going on
in Saskatoon.
In Saskatoon, 3 different looks like 3 or 4 different gymnasiums in Saskatoon. And we got 30 seconds left. I'm going to tell you guys a story. I was going to save it for Clutch Performer. I'm telling it now. Regina, Kindersley Clippers SJ team. I just retweeted it. Go to X. Stein Dostal has been taking piano lessons all year. Being the good guy he is, also shoveled his piano teacher's driveway all winter. Last week, Miss Houston gave him $350 for all his hard work. He went and bought 50-50 tickets in her name. She won $13,580. Like, so many things about this story is awesome. Stein taking piano lessons as a junior hockey player.
That's tremendous all by itself.
Right on. Yeah. That is so cool. I just retweeted it. We're up against the clock. We got to go. Hour 2 is going to be awesome. Arash Madani, Mark McConkey, and a whole lot more. We're live streaming down here, like you said, in the bowels of the Connexus Arts Center in our sport coats on X, on sportscage.com, and then on the radio 620 CKRM. Welcome back. Thursday edition. Sharky's here. I forgot we got a NASCAR report coming up.
We do.
In this hour as well. We're out of our element. We are live again. This time we're for the Regina Rams.
In the village.
Regina Rams dinner. We're at the Connexus Arts Center. It's quiet right now, but in about an hour's time, it is going to really pick up in here. It'll be busy and loud, and you won't be able to hear us. But that in hour 3, we'll have John Randle. That'll join us. So that'll be exciting. Also in this hour, we got head coach of the U of R Rams, Mark McConkey, going to pay a visit. But it's Thursday, and it's just after 4 o'clock. It's time to go coast to coast.
It's time to go coast to coast with Arash Madani for Smart Investing Solutions. Be smart with your money. Call Brian Gawley at Smart Investing Solutions, 546-2533.
Yeah, Brian Gawley knows a thing or two about the U of R Rams dinner and how effective this is when it comes to fundraising. Arash, you're with us. The guest speaker, Sharky and I talked about this at the start of the show. Like, Arash has to be so excited, wishing he was here, like you always wish you're in Regina, but today even more so because John Randle.
Honestly, if I knew Johnny was going to be there, I would have been there tonight. I'm not even joking. I'm not exaggerating. Like, when I think about my top 3 favorite athletes ever, when I was a kid, I worshipped Magic Johnson. Later on in my college days, Randy Moss was my guy. But Johnny Randle is top 3 with Irvin and Randy.
Wow.
And honestly, he's just the best. Like, also, Barney, I'm not telling you how to do your intros, but Hall of Famer John Randle. Hall of Famer John Randle. Let's make sure the gold jacket and Canton is acknowledged when we talk about 93.
Well, yeah, we did say that in hour one.
Yeah, we did.
Times.
We haven't left it out.
Hall of Famer,
we haven't left it out.
Big deal. Yeah. That's right. What is there? Is there a memory of him that stands out?
Well, like when you're a Vikings fan, the disdain you have for the Green Bay Packers, for the state of Wisconsin, for anything to do with those cheeseheads is immense. And Johnny, when he played, had no time for those jokers. I mean, there was a Nike commercial of him running around trying to tackle a chicken. And the commercial ended, and the chicken was wearing a Brett Favre Packers jersey. And he's just chasing him around this pen, And the commercial ends with Johnny grilling chicken on the barbecue. Like that Johnny understood how important it was. He said, to hell with them and how good they are. All they got over there is a bunch of cheese. The dude was the NFL sack leader. He was the defensive player of the year. He brought an attitude to that football team and to that defensive front. He was the best.
Wow. Like, you're not missing anything from his life, are you? You got it all down, Arash.
The one thing, because I was prepping.
I mean, Sharky, when I tell you, like, top 3 favorite athlete of all time, like, I'm not exaggerating. Like, Johnny grew up. Yeah, like, the college he went to doesn't even exist anymore. He grew up in a little shack without plumbing. His ascension to, undrafted to the Pro Football Hall of Fame is a miracle. And he went, like, he got cut by Tampa, gets to Minnesota, and they tell him, hey, you got between mini camp and training camp, you got to put on 20 pounds. So this dude shows up to training camp 2 months later. He went to a hardware store. He got himself a big, thick chain, wrapped it around his waist, put a padlock on it, put his sweats over, and then he gets on the scale, and they're like, all right, well, we'll keep you around, I guess, for training camp. And he showed up every day from that day forward thinking that, oh, man, I'm going to get cut today. That today is the day they're going to get me, so I have to show up to work and pour everything I have into my job. And he continued with that mindset when he became the highest paid defensive player in the history of football at that time. And to me, I think there's a lesson in there for all of us that take nothing for granted, show up every day and work and grind. And if you do, the sky's the limit.
You'll be okay.
You'll be okay.
Because it's not very often, and back then especially, that there was defensive tackles that were leading the league in sacks.
Right. Wasn't even 6 foot tall. This guy, like, he would turn on a persona too. Like, and I'm sure he'll talk to you guys about this.
Big trash talker. I read that.
You know what he would do, Barney? This guy would ask the PR department. This is before the internet, right? So there's not a lot of information out there. He would ask the PR department, hey, if we're playing like Detroit this week, get me as much information as you can on every single offensive lineman. So if he's going, I don't know, toe-to-toe with whatever, Kevin Gogan, a dirty-ass player from San Francisco or Dallas, he would know Kevin Gogan's kids' names, his wife's name. He would know where he went, like what they like to do. And he would get into their heads.
Oh, yeah.
And that would, he was looking for every single edge. He had a motor that wouldn't stop. Johnny was the man. Johnny was absolutely the man. So happy he's there tonight.
You're giving us some good stuff to ask him.
Yeah, because we've got him in the next hour. So, look forward to chatting with him.
CFL Combine starting in Regina, really tomorrow is when they start sweating indoors at the or at the whatever it's called, the soccer center here. I don't know when it comes to the CFL Combine, will anyone get out there and move the needle? Will anyone, all of a sudden, we didn't know that this kid could do that, or are they just kind of making sure they know what they know? I think we lost him.
I think we did.
Okay, we're gonna bring him back. We'll bring him back, and then let us know when he's back. Man, he's got some greats. He should have been here.
Yeah, he's got some great insight on Randle. Holy smokes, he might be his publicist.
We might bring him back at 5. Just sit in on the interview. I can do the feed up thing.
Yeah, we'll just relax and we'll let Arash.
Or it'd be like me interviewing Tom Brady.
Yeah, you'd be totally in awe, wouldn't you?
No, I'd just like to interview. There's just so many questions I'd like to ask. Or Wayne Gretzky. Yep. I would like to ask so many questions that just haven't been asked before.
There's maybe a reason.
No,
I think we got Arash back. Look at that.
Talking about his brothers, right? Like, was there a part? Like, did you see? Anyway, Arash is back. At Combine, I don't know if you heard my question. Just that, is this something where a player, an athlete will be there tomorrow and the weekend, and then all of a sudden jump off the charts, move the needle, or are teams just kind of going through this saying to make sure they can quantify or know what they know about these players?
Yeah, I asked around today, just knowing I was coming on, guys. One of the things that the unfortunate part is, a bunch of dudes aren't here because if you're watching NFL Network today, for instance, NCAA Pro Days are going on. So a bunch of the the Canadians who are playing in the States are staying down there. So that's one. But there's a kid from Queen's University. Darian Newell is his name. He's a defensive lineman. He absolutely tore apart the University of Buffalo Pro Day. And that was the same actual pro day that Taylor Elgersma went to throw. But he's a guy, and look, we think about Canadian players in the CFL, offensive line, defensive line, receiver, defensive back. And he is a ratio changer. He's a game changer. He's somebody who's going to make an impact. That's the kind of name that's coming out of the Combine right now.
So if you had to pick a name in Regina that we should watch for or hear for or listen for, do you have one that's going to be here that we should watch and make sure we pay attention to?
Yeah, I think that the quarterback from Laval, Arnaud Desjardins, is one. I think this Newell kid from Queens is another one. I think one of the things that's kind of weird this year, Sharky, there aren't a lot of offensive linemen who are moving the needle, is what I've been told. And that's, the traditional predominant, usually of the 9 first-round picks, you'll probably get a third of them to be offensive linemen. There aren't a bunch. Yeah. So that to me was a little, kind of puzzling, but I also think it speaks to the position of just how few quality offensive linemen there are. And part of that has to do with, they just don't practice in pads a ton anymore. And that kind of leads to it too.
What else you got, Barney? You're distracted today.
I want the part of me that I want to go just to see Arnold from Laval.
Laval,
heckle
yeah.
him a bit. What he's done to Saskatchewan teams in the last few years. No, so it'll be Canadian O-linemen seem to be, occupying a lot of spots on CFL rosters, kind of always have, and all of that. Is there a lot of them this year, or is it a little thin for Canadian O-line this year?
Yeah, thin on Canadian O-line. There's a linebacker from Windsor, last name Verishuk. He also did terrific work at the University of Buffalo Pro Day. He's somebody to keep a name and eye on. It's so tough with these things because usually, we just don't know about these U Sports kids until maybe a bowl game or a Vanier Cup. But just remember that one from Windsor, because from what some of the talent evaluators are telling me, he's somebody who can move the needle too.
So you had mentioned that University of Buffalo Pro Day. How does a player get invited to that? Tell me how that process takes place, that they end up at that school for a look.
Yeah, so for the most part with NCAA schools, Sharky, what will happen is, let's take University of Colorado, for example. Okay, Dion School, Shadur's there, Travis Hunter's there, etc. A couple of the guys will show up at the combine, but they won't work out much. But the real showcase for the scouts is there at the university. What's smart that the University of Buffalo has now done is, being a border town, they have offered opportunities to some of the top OUA players to say, hey, why don't you come down here and get a chance to audition with American scouts, with NFL scouts who are coming here anyway. And what that does is, that is an added incentive for NFL teams to show up to Buffalo's campus. It's also an incentive for, and this is where college football and college basketball are going to get really interesting moving forward, is that I think moving forward in a transfer portal world, don't be surprised after year 2 and after year 3, but especially after year 2, if you see more Rams, Huskies, U Sports players ending up in the NCAA transfer portal and playing south of the border. So it's relationships, which is how the University of Buffalo, they're saying, hey, top OUA guys come down, you'll get a chance for NFL teams to get a look at you. But it's also a chance to kind of open the door for word of mouth to say, oh man, if you go to University of Buffalo, they have some really nice facilities there. They take care of their people there, et cetera, et cetera. So it's the short game, it's the long game, it's all those things kind of all happening at once. It's a great question because it's a fascinating concept that keeps changing as all the rules change.
Well, that's what's happening with hockey, with the NCAA edition of former major junior players, guys at U of A or USC or U of S, are getting opportunities from the Denver, the North Dakotas, the Michigans. They don't mind that they're 22 now. They can come in at any time. They've only got 2 years left. They'll take them.
But are they?
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's the thing. Those schools haven't signed many players. I talked to a guy the other day. He's like, the big NCAA hockey schools, they haven't signed anybody yet? They haven't. No, people are kind of curious on what their play is with all this. And nothing NCAA Div 1 hockey is unbelievable. But you haven't heard the big guys enter the conversation.
There's lots to go. Yeah.
Enter the chat.
There's lots to go.
All right. I got to ask you about this. I saw it this morning and I thought it was a bit of a joke. And then I'm like, it's real. The Boston Celtics reportedly have been sold for a number that I think you could almost buy the country of Canada. You pay the debt.
So this is what's wild. A little over 20 years ago, the Celtics sold for around $400 million.
Which was
today those owners sold it for $6.1 billion. Billion with a B. The biggest transaction. Yeah. Yeah, like the biggest transaction of a North American sports franchise ever. The amazing part is they sold it to a guy who grew up in Boston who's a Celtics fan who can he's an encyclopedia of naming you all the Celtics players.
What?
But that's
who is it?
the going rate.
Who is it? What's the background on this guy? Are you on the job? Are you getting us the dirt or the good stuff?
I don't know exactly. Like he carries the ones really well with the decimals. Like he doesn't do decimals. He just does commas. Yeah, he's one of these finance guys, you know. If you have $6 million of play money to buy a team, what does that say? But also imagine if you're the group selling. You bought a business, you bought an asset that is worth 30 times more than what you bought it for in 20 years. There is nothing other than tech, other than like Apple, Microsoft, Google, Oracle, that has this kind of growth the way franchise valuations in pro sports do.
Yeah, that's a damn good point. 6.1 billion. How does that transfer of money go through from bank account to bank account?
Cash. It's just a cash.
Obviously, it's not cash. Yeah. It's not an e-transfer. That's
a big nut.
So where does that put Boston, the Celtics, with the Cowboy? Because what are the Cowboys are estimated at like 10.1 billion?
Yeah. I wonder about the Yankees.
What are the Yankees?
Yeah, so the Celtics have 41 home games a year, 41 gates at 20,000 seats. The Yankees have twice as many games, 81 home games, with twice as many seats. They'll put 45,000 people in there. And obviously, New York's a bigger market than Boston. New York has, the Yankees, the Pinstripes are iconic, so are the Celtics. But the Yankees are just a more valuable franchise. So if the Celtics are going for 6, man, the Yankees, what's that number? Is it 9? Is it 10? I mean, somebody's got to have the cake to buy it. But I think we're just in this frontier that we've never seen before, fellas.
That's a lot of money to spend on a sports franchise. Like, you have to be really, really passionate about that team to take all your shekels and use it for that.
Or just a smart investment guy.
I don't know.
But I don't know how this
like our friend Brian Gall. So here's the question: what's our friend Brian Golly going to buy? What's the franchise that Brian's going to dig into?
Brian, let's get Arash into town for a little Western pizza.
Yes.
Let's sit down. I got a short list of 3 things that we can roll with and make a difference in this province. I'll leave it at that.
Holy smokes, that's a teaser.
You know what? I looked up I'm just looking up top valued sports franchise. The Cowboys are still number 1. Golden State Warriors,
really?
number 2. Then the Rams of Los Angeles, not the U of R, as Mark McConkey says here. The New York Yankees, and then you know what surprised me? The top soccer organization or football was Real Madrid at 6.6 million. I thought there'd be a higher soccer.
Billion. No. Billion with a B.
Story.
Yeah.
So remember, why are the Rams, LA, not Regina, as valuable? Remember, like SoFi Stadium is a $5 billion building. The land in the Bay Area in San Francisco, it's a brand new arena. I was just there for NBA All-Star. Plus, Steph Curry, what they've done to that franchise, winning all those championships. It's a very lucrative market.
Top Canadian team? Sharky, guess. I know you know. Top Canadian team.
Be the Toronto Maple Leafs.
No.
Montreal Canadiens?
No.
Toronto Raptors.
Toronto Raptors.
Really?
Edmonton.
NBA. Guys, NBA money is different money.
No kidding. It must be. The Raptors went dead last?
Oh, this is wild. This is a rabbit hole I'm going to go down now and start looking. I don't know. All right, Arash. This is great. So text us a couple of, I wrote down a few John Randle questions. If you think of anything else, text us. And I'm looking forward to the interview now, just with some of the little tidbits that you dropped on us.
Yeah, just tell Johnny he is the man. I'll just leave you with this. His old D-line coach, the late John Tierlink, He was the one who introduced him into the Hall of Fame. And Tierling said, I've been lucky enough to coach in like 30 or 40 playoff games, 8 conference championship games, and 2 Super Bowls. And he said, inducting John Randle into the Hall of Fame is bigger than all of those combined.
That's nice compliment.
It's an amazing story from an amazing player. So I'm so pumped you guys. And he's a beauty. He's an absolute beauty you guys are going to love.
You told me to make sure I go with Hall of Famer, but you've been calling him Johnny the whole time, like you guys are boys. I'm going to stick with Johnny.
There's no athlete I want to be boys with more than Johnny. I'll tell you that.
Awesome. Okay. Have a good weekend, buddy.
See you guys.
Take care, Arash.
So that's Coast to Coast with Arash Madani for our friend Brian Golly at Smart Investing Solutions. Be smart with your money. You can call Brian and his team 546-2533. We'll go to a quick break. We're live at the U of R Rams dinner. They're getting ready here. There's guys with loud carts driving by momentarily. We're going to be joined by U of R head coach Mark McConkey. It's a SportsCage streaming live on X and on sportscage.com. All right, we're back here, the basement of the Connexus Arts Center. We're getting ready for the University of Regina Rams dinner tonight. It actually looks fantastic in the, the ballroom hall? What are we calling it?
I don't know.
It looks
got
good
a name,
in there, though.
Convention Center?
Yeah, Convention Hall. Over 400 people will be on hand. Coach of the U of R Rams joining us right now, Mark McConkey. It was like a Thursday. I was talking about this in the show earlier. It was like a Thursday thing there when you guys made that run, and it was like, all right, talk to you hopefully next Thursday. Do you still get goosebumps when you think about everything that went on?
Scheduled in to zoom in from Laurier where we were, Queens, and but yeah, no, it's again still excited about it, but again still kind of mad that we didn't 3-point short against Laval in the Mitchell Bowl, but I mean, you can look at the other side. Like, we lost to UVA in the last game, we would have won. We wouldn't have been in the playoffs. So I'm just glad the way the team came together and it started to gel. But unfortunately, there's only one winner at the end, and it's the tough. You have to go against the Big Red Machine, and that's a tough team to beat.
When you went into that game, and we talked before you went into the Big Red Machine in Laval, at what point in that game was there a point that you had to pivot from the game plan and make any decisions? Because football is a lot like that, right? And just to kind of stay with them, because if I remember it correctly, you guys shut them down early. Yeah. The march wasn't a back and forth shootout, but you shut them down early, and I was like, oh, that's a statement. But was there a part in that game that you had to pivot away from the game plan that you went in with?
No, not really. I mean, I thought Coach Ellinger coordinated a great job, and Josh Donnelly, who's now with the Riders, we had a good game plan going in. And I think the biggest thing is you're watching them on tape, and you're like, how good are they? How big are they? And you see them in warm-ups, and I'm like, okay, they're big, but they're just like our guys. They're maybe a little bit older, but they're just like our guys. They're still student athletes. They're still football players.
Allegedly,
yeah. And then like. Yeah, we had 2 first downs. We punted. Our defense had a 2-and-out, and then I'm like, we're good. We're good. Yeah. Like, I was like, well, if we can't move and they score, like, this is on national television. Like, this could get bad. And again, I don't bet on our games, but someone told me the line of the game was like 18 or 20 points for them.
I bet on it.
So I was like, hopefully you took the Rams because we covered.
I took you guys to cover.
Perfect. Yeah. Nice. Well, I think we had 20 points to go with. So
yeah.
But after that first drive, I was like, we're good. And then even at half, I think it was like 7-7. It was close. And then once we scored late, I'm like, we're good. And then obviously their quarterback experience, and they came up in the clutch there. But yeah, it was a good experience for our guys, and to get those playoff wins, and now to keep building on for next year.
I want to take you back one game before that against U of S in that Hardy Cup, and everybody, I mean, like literally I was listening on pins and needles, listening to the game on the radio. What do you take from that experience against U of S that prepared you to play against Laval?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you play U of S, it's a big game. Like week 2, week 7, and we went 1-1 in the year, and we knew it was going to be a big crowd. And actually, like, we were ready for the silent count, but we traveled well. We had that whole side behind our bench was all Rams fans, so we didn't have to use the silent count. And the boys played well. And I mean, that's a game I'm never going to forget. To win at Griffin Stadium, and then to do it in the Hardy Cup, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Anytime you beat U of S, doesn't matter where or what, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah. No, just elevated with in UVest. Like someone said, would you rather have won it at home? I said, nope. I'm glad it was there.
You talked about losing a coach, and now we're in the post. They're in the getting ready for the season again and all that. Coaching staff wise, what does it look like this year?
Yeah, still working on a few of the kinks there for the offensive coordinator spot. But at the end of the day, we've had great consistency on our staff. And again, I blame Mark Mueller for stealing Josh, and I'll say that again tonight. Like, he's supposed to be a friend of mine. Like, what the stupid, like some friend he is, you know what I mean? Yeah. So now my wife's probably going to kill him more because now I'll be in the office even more. So he's got to deal with my wife now. But yeah, other than that, everything's the same.
Hey, what about Owen? Owen, is that the boy? What's your boy's name?
Yeah, Owen. Yeah.
Hey, I thought you were bringing him today.
Yeah, no, I did. I actually was on a kindergarten field trip this afternoon with him, and then I was like, hey, I got time to come shower and come here quick because last year I came right to it and thought about it again. But no, he wants to coach too. He's our assistant receiver coach. So
nice,
perfect. And then you like hosting the Vanier Cup, but it's not like I was thinking about it myself. It's not like when the Pats host the Memorial Cup, they get an automatic berth, right? Like there's still a long grind to get there. But when you guys are recruiting, how do you use that, or do you use it?
Yeah, I mean, that's what everyone says. Oh, it's got to help in recruiting. I don't know if it really does. Yeah. Like, to be honest, I'm sure lots of our guys would rather go somewhere cool, like Laval or Queens, and go travel to play a game. But to have the opportunity to play a home game in the biggest game of the year for us, that would be pretty sweet. And I don't know I think it's been done before in the past with some teams, but to hold it out here in the prairies, like I think UVest hosted in like 2005. It hasn't been in the province since. So to have that is big, but I wouldn't say it's a big recruiting tool. I think what helped us have such a good recruiting year was winning the Hardy Cup and playing in that national semi and showing the success that we do have.
You mentioned recruiting, and I'm glad you brought that up. And are you going to introduce some new recruits tonight? Will there be some of that? Will you brought on stage?
We're going to talk about it. We moved this dinner from right before spring camp to in March here. Okay. And so normally we'd have all those guys here, but now that it's in March, we're not going to do it. We're going to introduce them. We're going to have like a kickoff breakfast in fall camp before the season, and that's when we're going to introduce them.
Any special recruits we should be watching for that are coming in? Any special names you want to throw out?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots. Yeah, no, we did a great job. We had a lot of local talent here, and guys like Davin Barry, the O-lineman from Riffle, everyone wanted him. He had some looks from in the States as well, some teams talking to him. I know UBC really wanted him, and even Coach Nell, a guy that we're obviously enemies, but there's a lot of mutual respect.
NOD kid.
Yeah. He wants tough. They're tough. Right? Yeah. With their white sunglasses, they're tough. Yeah, they get it. Yeah. They understand how it works, and he'll acclimatize to the South End eventually once he starts going to class, and he'll be better off in the long run. But overall, like he's a great recruit. Coach Nell called me and was like, that just shows what you're doing in the program, and you're doing good things. And guys like Liam Platt, Marcus Crandall's kid just committed, Darius Crandall. He's a good receiver from Alberta. He's one of the top two there. So it's been a really good year for us, and we're excited for spring camp to see him. But no recruits tonight, but I'll touch a little bit on the recruiting class.
Yeah, cool. Very cool. That is really exciting. And then being able to keep the kids that are from here and home.
I have one more question related to bringing the Hardy Cup into the gym with President Kesham. I think he was more excited than the whole rest of the school combined.
100%. No, he is. He's the captain of the team. He's the head coach, the OC, the boss. He's our Jerry Jones. Comes in on his helicopter.
On a good side, in a good way.
He wasn't even at the game. He was flying back from like Dubai or something. He was so mad, and he like met us. He kept calling me. I drove a rental car up because we had a press conference, and I'm driving back with one of our coaches, and he's calling me every 5 minutes. Where are you guys? I'm like, we're in Davidson. Like, that's an hour away. And he's like, I'm waiting outside the locker room. And he stood there for an hour outside just waiting for us. Then we came, and the boys gave him the trophy, and they made him go out first, and he's just the support he gives us. The whole U of R athletics is next to none, and you don't have many presidents that be waiting outside for an hour for the boys. And so we let him go in, and like I said, he might have been the most excited one there. Yeah.
Good to hear.
CFL Combine in Regina. Do you go take that in? Check out some of the guys?
Yeah, absolutely. We got about, I think, 7 of our assistant coaches are helping out actually run the Combine. Like, they're helping assist the CFL coaches. Obviously, we got 3 guys in there as well. And yeah, I got a pass, so I'll be checking it out and seeing the top players in Canada.
Nice. That is very, very nice. Now, like, you got 3 guys at the Combine?
Yeah.
Your thoughts on them being there and how they're going to show and what that's going to look like for them?
Yeah, they've been training hard. I think they're going to show well. Some of them are really good testers. Like Delaney's a great tester. He'll run really fast. He's tall. He's long. He's a good cornerback. He was an all-star this year for us, and he'll do really well. And I know Chopper and Clausen, the O-lineman, are going to do great things as well. So I'm just excited to see them go compete. They're excited. I think all 3 of their names are going to get called on draft night. Now it's just a matter of, will they come back? Will they not? And you really never know. I mean, there's sometimes I expect to lose guys, and then they come back.
They show up.
And I'm like, awesome. And then there's other times where I'm like, oh, we'll get him back. And then he's not there. And you're like, okay. So it really depends. And honestly, that's why they're here. Like, they're here to get an education, which they're all doing, and they're all doing well. But if they get a chance to go pro, I think they're all going to take it, which is pretty exciting.
Fantastic.
And here, the generic question here, but just, some people out there might not know just what an event like this means for the organization.
Yeah, it's massive. It's our biggest fundraiser of the year. It's just great to see so many alumni and supporters and actually just sit down in one room and have a good meal together and just talk about the program, meet the recruits, whatever it might be. And ultimately for us, it's a huge fundraiser for us. And like, it costs a lot of money to run a football program. And then you got player scholarships on top of that, which is probably around $350,000 a year just for that. And then all the travel and all the food we feed these guys and all the equipment upkeep. And it costs a lot of money to run a football team. And this event is a huge fundraiser for us. But really for me, it's all about just connecting with the community and getting guys back engaged.
Is there one guy on the team? You don't want to single out guys. Who's the guy on the team that's like the genius, like school wise, like just scholastically? And
that's a good question. It's always an engineer. It seemed to be a DB the last couple of years. Like we had Noah Sampson, who's no longer with us, and he was like, probably can't even say for privacy, but I'll say it. He'll be pumped. But like high 90s average in engineering. And we just had another player, Carter Smith, in engineering. Like incredible. Like they go in, like I go in the coach's room, they're doing engineering equations on the board, and I just look and I'm like, and then I just slowly like tiptoe back into the bushes. Don't ask me anything. Like at least our D coordinator is a chemistry teacher, and he did his chem degree, so he can help a little bit. But I just do this one. Just hopefully they didn't see me, because don't ask me.
My daughter last night at grade 6 math, and then I'm like, do I feel dense?
Yeah,
it's just everything. Well, this is great. It's nice to catch up. Awesome night, excited, and then just for the year, obviously, we're pumped.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys coming here and supporting us, and hopefully we can do our Thursdays again next year and go all the way, and we'll be at home, so it'll be even better. And yeah, I just appreciate you guys, what you guys do for sports in Saskatchewan.
Thanks, Mark.
Head coach of the U of R Rams, Mark McConkey, joining us live here. We're here for the Rams dinner live at the Connexus Arts Center. We're on the SportsCage. We're streaming at sportscage.com and, of course, on X, and home of the Regina Rams, 620 CKRM. Down here at the Connexus.
Are you going to our guy from Kindersley?
Arts Center.
I know you tweeted it out, but I can
briefly run down that story for people that are just tuning in. I did tweet it out on SportsCage, or we retweeted it. A kid by the name of Stein Dostal. He plays for the Kindersley Clippers. He's been taking piano lessons all year. Being the good guy that he is, he shoveled his piano teacher's driveway all winter. So there's a picture of him and Miss Houston. She gave him $350 for all of his hard work the past few months. And then he turned around and bought 50-50 tickets in her name with the $350. And she ended up winning $13,580. Stein, what a great dude. Taking piano lessons, one thing, that's awesome. And then doing that. Now, would he get a cut to that? Now we're talking big money.
It's up to him and the piano teacher.
Now we're talking, so he's one of my clutch performers. The other one is last night in game number 4, AAA midget, Moose Jaw. They won in double overtime over Swift Current 3-2. They stay alive. They force a game 5. Friday, 7 p.m. It was Brennan Brown who scored in overtime unassisted. Not sure if it really was unassisted or if the refs at that point were just like, oh, whatever, just give it to that guy. I know how
Let's get out of here.
I know how that, yeah. They'll go through tape. Maybe there'll be some assists on that. But Brennan Brown from the Moose Jaw AAA Warriors.
Winmar Warriors, yeah.
Friday, 7 p.m. is game number 5.
In Swift Current?
No, it'll be in Moose Jaw. Moose Jaw's higher ranked. So those are mine. You got one? No, you got Stein.
Stein Dostal. Yeah.
Boys at the shop. Do you guys have one? No?
Nope.
Okay, yeah, we got ones. Mine is, let me pull it up here. Daniel Hauser of the Calgary Hitmen is now the all-time wins leader in the WHL.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, 123 wins. Picked up the, 5-1 victory against Red Deer Rebels last night. He is currently tied for 7th in CHL history. If he gets one more win, and they've got 2 games left this year, he'll move into sole possession of 7th. And if he gets another win, he'll be tied for 6th all-time in CHL history. So
that's intense.
That's nice.
That's
Another
intense.
little fun fact about his career: he actually started it on a record pace of 20-0-2.
What
With Calgary?
He started with the Winnipeg Ice.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Alan, do you have one? Wasn't there a massive upset in March Madness? Not that anyone that I know knows about.
Yes, there
Is
was.
following?
Yes, there was a upset for the March Madness. For my clutch performer, I was going to go Andrew Nemhart when he hit a 3-pointer to win the game against the Dallas Mavericks. And you see it on the screen.
Oh, step back.
He's from Ontario. He's from Ontario, by the way.
Look at him
there.
move the ball around, and
there you
16
go.
seconds nails it.
Nothing
Okay.
but net.
Good one. Our clutch performers for Nick Service in Emerald Park. Your local Massey Ferguson Challenger, Rogator, Gleaner, and Fendt dealer. Call 781-1077. Let's get into some NASCAR.
The SportsCage NASCAR Report, where rubbin' is racing, is brought to you by Croft Electric. 27 years of trusted, reliable home, farm, and commercial service for all your electrical needs. Visit croftelectric.com and on all socials.
Hey, thanks to Croft Electric for their support.
Yes.
Sorry I don't have his hat on today. We're off
Sport
site.
coat. It's a Croft Electric sport coat.
Sport coat
If
day.
you squint.
Yep. Danny, we got to get these sponsored. Hey, Josh Berry took the checkered flag in Las Vegas last weekend for his first win ever in a Cup Series race. So congratulations to Josh and Wood Brothers Racing. Challenges on the day, but came from behind, beat out Daniel Suarez at the end. This week, we're off to Homestead of Miami for the Straight Talk Wireless 400. The 1.5 mile track sets up well as it's similar to Phoenix and Vegas, so the cars have consistency of preparation. Two other pieces of news that we've been following along with NASCAR. The lawsuit with 2311 Racing and NASCAR is still ongoing. There's no new news, but further discussions and further decisions are expected by the end of the race season. And Catherine Leggett, who raced in her first ever race at Phoenix, the car was involved in a wreck as she did not let others who were a lap ahead pass. They got tangled up. Some drivers are now calling on a qualification process for drivers to race in the top circuit, not just an owner's wish. Helio Castroneves, who raced at Daytona, did really poorly. He did not do well with only 3 days of practice in the car on that track. So they're asking NASCAR to go a little bit further in terms of their qualification process. Indy 500 does 30 days that you practice before the Indy 500. They're not saying they got to race for 30 days, but they got to do a little bit more. The drivers were quick to point out that this was not because Catherine was a woman that there was a problem. This was her qualifications to get that level because she'd only raced in the ARCA race. She hadn't even raced in the Xfinity Series, which is the one underneath NASCAR. So more to come yet as drivers push for everybody to be on the same page.
So anything else?
That's it.
Really?
Yeah.
So the track this week is a lot like Vegas and Phoenix?
Yeah, 1.5 mile track, right? So very similar in terms of length. We're not going anything really different lengthwise.
Okay.
I got the
ovals,
hat on for you, Sharky.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Colson.
Good boy, Colson.
You look good in it, too.
Crofty will appreciate it. Crofty's coming to this, isn't he?
He is. Crofty
Big supporter of the community, Croft Electric.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge. They get it.
So you got a table?
He's
Probably rowdy.
He's joining Cougar alumni tonight, Cougar hockey alumni.
Rowdy table.
Yeah.
There'll
be a lot of fun. There'll be a lot of beer at that table. Yep.
All right. There's your NASCAR report. Again, thanks
Sunday in Miami.
Croft Electric for sponsoring that. Croft Electric, lots of years, 27 years. Trusted, reliable home, farm, and commercial services. So anything you need electrical, croftelectric.com. You can find them on all the socials. Quickly tonight, running down what's coming up. Actually, there isn't a lot, to be honest with you. Oh, did you know the AAA female Notre Dame lost
in overtime?
So it's done.
Done.
It's going to be Battleford and Saskatoon for women's AAA U18 supremacy. Again, Prairie Junior Hockey League last night, Fort Knox 7-2 over the Capitals. Madden Wallace, 2 goals there. Leland Cody, 1-1. Zane Winter stopped 40 shots. That's a 3-0 series lead for Fort Knox. Do or die for the Regina Capitals tomorrow at the Ritchie.
Long way back.
Watch Edmonton Oilers tapes from last year, except for that Game 7.
Yeah, don't watch Game 7.
They were right there. Yeah. WHL, nothing tonight. Regina Pats and Brandon. Tomorrow, huge points for the Brandon Wheat Kings. For the Pats, they might not want the points. Depends how you look at it with that draft pick and where the ping pong balls lie. SJHL, everything fires tomorrow. And then senior, I don't have anything for senior tonight. Kenaston won the Sask Valley last night. Raymore, they won in double overtime over Lumsden, game 3 of the Coppell Valley Highway Hockey League Championship Series, 8 p.m. Saturday in Raymore.
When does that series start between Long Lake and Kenaston? When does that get under?
Not Long Lake.
Round Lake. I keep doing that. Round Lake.
Sunday, 6 o'clock in the Kenaston Arena.
Excellent. They're playing at home. Now, you said they tried to find the Belcher.
Whole story for maybe hour 3 of the show.
Okay.
We just got a release that looks like the Monday Nooner reposted it on that. That's going to be crazy. So many people trying to get into that game Sunday in Kenaston. Break time. When we come back, Hall of Famer John Randle.
Excited.
Will join us. He's the guest speaker here this evening. It's a SportsCage live from the University of Regina Rams dinner at the Connexus Arts Center on 620 CKRM. All right, welcome back. Hour 3, live U of R Rams dinner, Connexus Arts Center. Barney, Shynkaruk, Sharky. Special guest. If you're watching the stream, you see him right beside us. Hall of Famer, NFL Hall of Famer John Randle is in the city. He made it to beautiful Regina, Saskatchewan. You have any questions for him? You're a Vikes fan. I know there's a few out there. 306-936-6262. Prairie Land Rentals text line. John, thanks so much for coming, making some time. Have you ever been to Saskatchewan?
No, I have not. It's my first time. I had actually talked to several people from Regina about 2 weeks ago at the Minneapolis Golf Convention, and they were giving me some great feedback. And so I'm excited to be here.
When you first found out you were coming here, did you say, "Oh, I'm going to Regina"?
Yes, I did. I did, because actually I had a meeting this morning on a Zoom call, and we were talking, and we had several ladies on there, and I'm like, "It's Regina." I'm trying to say Regina. She goes, "It's Regina." I go, "It's actually Regina, but I'm going to say Regina for you girls." Yeah. And one of the ladies I texted and told her, and she got in trouble because she was laughing because she goes, "It's Regina." I'm like, "Yeah, it's Regina."
It's so cool. NFL Hall of Famer. Like, does it ever get old hearing that?
You know what? No, it doesn't get old. But when I set out to try and play in the National Football League, I wasn't thinking about getting in the Hall of Fame. I was just going out there to give it all I got. I was just a person who just wanted a chance to play in the National Football League. For some crazy reason, I believed that I belonged in the National Football League, and I just knew I needed a chance. And there was a few obstacles that I had to come across, or had to go get over, and to accomplish to make it. But I knew that's where I belonged. And I started out in 1990 trying to make the team, and it's 2025, and I'm still associated. And what I mean by associated, I now work for the league office. And so, man, it's a kid coming from a town of 150 people.
Yeah.
Everybody told me that I wouldn't make it far. And so it's just unbelievable.
The undrafted stories, right?
Yeah.
Everyone always wants to hear the undrafted stories. Now, maybe a two-part. Was there a moment that you go back to when you're younger and all that, where you were saying, you know what, small town, like you said, right? I'm just going to pack it in. And then is there someone that really helped you along the way?
Oh, actually, that helped me my high school year, because high school was for me the hardest part, because I lived 11 miles away from my high school, and I had to basically hitchhike or catch a ride home after football practice. And so when I would get home, I was already thinking about tomorrow. How am I going to get home? And
that's 11 miles, not 11 kilometers.
Yeah. And that's down in Texas during the 80s, and where a black guy, you just don't want to be walking home on these back roads. Yeah. And so at one point, I think my sophomore year, I was just like, you know what, I'm done. And I remember I got to ride home on the bus, and it felt so great. And I got home, and I had to I had to tell my mom. And my mom, who confronted me, was like, "Why do you want to quit?" I'm like, "Just want to hang out with my friends." So she stopped what she was doing and took me to our junior high school, because the school only went from kindergarten to the 8th grade. Took me over there, and she goes, "Is that what you want to do? You want to just hang out with these boys?" She goes, "You can hang out with them boys anytime." She goes, "Son, I think you got something in your future. I don't know what, but you need to stick with it." And so I had quit for one day and I went back to football. And man, I think that for me was so special because my mom, who was my biggest fan, my best friend, was there to tell me that she believed in, because I didn't have my father around me much, and he wasn't there to push me or to to show me which way to go. And so my mom was that for me. And man, it was to have that. It was at the point where I was like, okay, I'm going forward. I got to college same way, and I got the pro. When I got to the pros, going from South Texas, it was 80-some degrees, going to Minnesota where it was like 25 degrees. And I got in my room, I'm looking around, I'm like, oh my God. And I called my mom, and she goes, "How is it?" I go, "It's cold." She goes, "Well, it's going to get warmer there, because since you're there, because you're going to tear their asses up." And so I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
And man, I remember my roommate came in, he was from Mississippi, and he goes, "Man, it's freezing." And I said, "Hey, you know what? If you don't want to be here, I'll show you how to get out of here." I said, "But I'm here." And that moment for me happened in high school.
That was moms. It's all moms.
Oh
right?
man, my mom was like 6 foot tall, and she was about it. Like I remember her one time, one of my cousins confronted her and tried to like strangle my mom. Man, my mom was like, do.
If you're watching the stream, those are knuckles.
Yeah, knuckles, man.
Mom took him down.
Man, she was 6 foot tall, man. My mom was no joke.
Okay, we had a couple of good stories earlier. We had another reporter on, Arash Madani, out of Toronto, and he, by the way, is an enormous fan. He calls you Johnny.
Yeah,
he calls you Johnny.
Yeah,
right?
that's when I have from kindergarten to 8th grade, everybody called me Anthony. I got to high school, they called me John. Got to college, it was J. Rand. And then people in Minnesota or fans call me Johnny. So I'm like, I hear those certain names like Anthony, kindergarten, somewhere 8th grade. Yeah. So.
He told us two really good stories. One, you had to gain weight.
Yeah.
And you fixed that with a trip to the hardware store.
Yes.
So tell us that story. Tell us your version of that story.
All right, I'll tell you. So my roommate, once again, who was from Alabama or Mississippi, he and I were trying to make the team, and so we gave us a couple of days off to just kind of hang out before they decided to the final cut down day. So he and I went to this hardware store, and we were walking around, and my defense coordinator, Floyd Peters, had told me Floyd had this real raspy voice, and everything he said was chop, chop, which I don't know why, even to this day. But he goes, "You're 240, chop, chop. You need to be bigger, chop, chop. Too small, chop, chop." And he goes, "If you can gain weight, chop, chop, you can make this team." So William and I was walking around this hardware store, and dude was telling us about chains, because William and I are both country boys. So we're looking at chains, shovels. Man, look at this one. I bet that thing costs like $30 or $40. So the guy was telling us about the chains. He goes, "And that chain right there, that weighs about 10 pounds. I'm like, okay. He goes, "I can cut it for you if you want. If you guys need it for something." I'm like, "Can you cut?" I go, "How did you tie it together?" He goes, "Just get you a padlock." I'm like, "Could I put it around my waist?" He goes, "Son, why would you want to do that?" I'm like,
I'll come and see you in a week.
Chop, chop, chop.
So at this point, he's confused as hell, because he's going, "Why do you want to put a chain around your waist?" I'm like, "I just want to do this." He goes, "I don't know if you guys in some geeky stuff, but you may want to get out of the store." So that's how crazy he got. So I'm like, "Yeah, I put it around my waist." I'm like, "Yeah, I want this." And so he cut it, took the padlock, hold it up together, and went to practice. And back then, they didn't really they didn't tell you to take your sweatpants off. So I had my sweatpants over top of it. Man, I hopped on the scale. It was like 251. I'm like, yeah. And he looked at me, the weight coach. He goes, "Son, I don't know where you got it at, but it says 251. That's how I made the team.
That is
Okay. Now, hey, I got to know I know you don't like the Green Bay Packers, Minnesota Vikings player, right? Hate the Packers. Tell us about the commercial with the Brett Favre chicken.
Oh my God. So Nike came to me and was like, we got this idea. We're going to have you chasing chickens like Rocky. I'm like, Rocky, yeah. You're going to be chasing chickens. So we did this commercial, not in Minnesota, not in Wisconsin. We went out to California, out in Beverly Hills, to film this thing. And so we're filming this thing, and I'm asking questions like, whose house is this? They go, oh, they film movies here. I'm like, really? What kind of movies? Well, you know, like pornos and stuff like that. But that's beside the point.
Why was there a chicken there? Anyway.
So we had these chickens, and dude, we're there for about 2 days trying to catch these chickens. The first day, the chicken wouldn't move, wouldn't run. So we just, all of a sudden, they brought in another chicken. And, but it really just kind of changed how Minnesota and Green Bay, how we hated each other. And it just really, put my face on how the Vikings felt about the Packers. And it was pretty funny until Peter got a hold of it, and Peter was like, did you kill a chicken? I'm like, we didn't kill a chicken. No chicken was harmed. So
one ended up on the barbecue, but not that one.
Yeah, not that one. And then that's when we went to KFC or some restaurant and got some chicken, all right? We didn't cut up any chicken. But I got so much bad press about it from Peter that we kind of scaled back from it. But it was pretty ingenious, though.
I was watching when I knew we were going to have you on the last couple days. I've been watching just old highlights and just you, trash talking, like next level trash talking. That was awesome. What's a quarterback that you wanted to murder? Probably all of them.
Oh
but that was maybe underrated.
Oh my God. Well, you know what? Everybody knows the Brett Favre thing, but I think the Trent Dilfer, because Trent and I, we would go at it. And later on we became teammates, but Trent was a guy that was, he let me get in his head. And it just really got to the point where I wouldn't even be talking to him. I'd just be looking at somebody else and just look at him and, what are you looking at? I'm not looking at you. You're looking at me. Like, I like you. Tony Dungy told me you're a good quarterback. You are the guy. And it used to just mess with him. But to the point where one time I tried to grab him, and I'm on the ground. I'm trying to reach out and grab Trent. And I'm like, oh, come here. Come to me. And he sees me down there. He just jumps down on one knee and starts just pounding me. And I'm screaming, get him off me, ref. I got him kicked out of a game. So for me, that probably was one of the most, at the point where I should have gotten an Oscar for
that. Who's the best pass rusher in the league right now?
Oh, my God. That's got to be one. Well, you know what? I hate to say this team, but I'll just say this team. I won't really say his name, but
you're in Regina.
The Cleveland Browns. He just got a new contract.
Oh, Myles Garrett.
Oh, and I sat down with him and we talked about it a couple of years ago. We sat down for about 2 hours talking about pass rushing, and I did not know how into it he was, because I told him, I said, man, you reminds me of me. That how he broke it down, how he was thinking about what he was looking at when he looking at the offensive line. He goes, I can see my move. I'm going to use on him. First quarter, second quarter, my third quarter, even in the fourth, when I know he's about done. So last year, Myles was playing. I think it was the Steelers or somebody, and it was the Steelers, and Watt was out there talking about he is the best pass rusher, and Myles got out there and just destroyed him. And I don't know if you guys watching that, but Myles, man, he looked like Gladiator. He had his hands up in the air like, oh, look what I have done. Look what I'm doing now. And I called him afterward. I go, man, you need to stop. Man. That was just wrong. He goes, Johnny, you know that. Pass rushers, we got to do what we got to do.
Now, you played in the middle. You didn't play out on the end where it's easy out there. You played in the middle.
I actually,
that's the wreck.
Yeah, I kind of started out there, but Tony Dungy came on the Minnesota Vikings as defensive coordinator, threw me in that middle, and man, it was, at first I was afraid, but then all of a sudden I started thinking about it. I'm like, this is where I belong. We call it chaos. Yeah. That is total chaos in there because, man, they're coming from all different directions. But I thrived in there. I loved it. being so close to that center and to those guards, where I would talk trash to this guard and go to the other side and go, "You see what I just did to that guy? I'm gonna do it to you."
Okay, so who was the easiest offensive lineman to throw off?
Oh man, easiest? There was none easy, because the problem you have when you're going against the guards, you got that center who's always coming on to double team you and picking on you. So it was never any easiest one, but I just said the ones that I really enjoyed was going to Green Bay, because I love going to play the Packers and trying to take advantage of their guards. But they had this center named Frank Winters, who was from from Chicago, but he had this New York accent voice, high pitch. Mm-hmm. You're not getting in the air. You're not getting in the air. Nah, not here today, Johnny. Nah, not today. So, but I love going against Green Bay's guards, and just because I would read up so much information on them. They would do radio shows, and I would hear the radio shows, them talking about what they were going to do. So that just made me even more angrier.
That's what Arash was talking about, how you did your research pre-internet days.
Yeah.
You'd find out things about guys, and to throw some daggers.
Yeah, I did. I was finding out a lot about the guys, because a lot of times the guys would get on when they started talking to media, they would just let on about everything, their wives, their strengths, their weaknesses, things they were looking at doing for the season. And so I would just bring it up in a very polite manner, like, "Hey, I just heard you got married. My name is Michelle. She's over in section 205. I think after the game, I'm going to go talk to her." So I loved it. It was fun, though.
Oh, that is what biggest changes NFL, we're going into 2025, than when you played?
Oh, one of the biggest changes is one of the rules that they put in because of me, which is you can't grab the guard's hand when the guard's pulling. So I was quick enough where I could grab the guard's hand and tag along with him when he was pulling and come out behind him and grab the running back. That rule right there changed a lot in the game, because now they call that defensive holding. So that was one of the rules. One of the other rules is you can't really speak derogatory to the guys on the field. Another rule for me.
2 John Randle rules.
Yeah, but those two were probably the biggest ones. But as for new rules that I do like are the ones that they can't really go down low on you. So that really helps the guys get across the field. But most of all, I think the biggest thing that I think has made the game better is the helmet quality. That's changed. Yeah. That's definitely made it better. Now the helmets are just not everybody's playing in the same helmet. Everyone has receiver has his helmet, quarterback have their helmets. So those inputs of the game I really do appreciate, because now our guys are coming out of or retiring, and they're retiring with less concussions. And I think that's a tribute to how the PA or the NFL Player Association and the NFL is looking at bettering our game and letting our guys come out of it more healthier, and allowing our guys some guys even are looking to play lesser because their quality of life is better, and so it's and with the money they're getting now too, guys are playing less. So it's all headed in the right direction, and I'm very proud to have been a member of the National Football League.
Wow. And you should be, man. What an outstanding career.
Thank you.
But he's still working. And did you see? Give us the rundown of your golf courses that you're visiting here in Nashville.
Okay, so a few courses I got to go Pebble Beach. I got to go play. I play in the Byron Nelson Pro-Am. I do one down in Boca. That's actually for the Hall of Fame. So the Hall of Fame, we've tied in with the James Hardy siding program, which is a house siding company. But we're doing that and raising money, going to donations. But those three are the golf tours. But I go all around the country playing golf. And one of the reasons I do it is because former players have golf tournaments. And what better way to go out and show your appreciation for those guys, and also go out and show the league's office appreciation by coming out and representing and showing them guys that we appreciate what they've done for the NFL and what they're doing in the community. And so Man, I'll be in Tampa for Derek Brooks' tournament. I used to do Emmitt Smith's tournament. I do Andre Reed's tournament. I do Jim Kelly's golf tournament.
Who's the biggest sandbagger?
Oh my God. Biggest sandbagger is probably was this old guy named Richard Dent. He's known to kind of.
There's a guy in Regina named Richard Dent.
But I hope it's not this guy, because this guy, he fluffs his ball. But I witnessed Marcus Allen come out and tell Richard Dent, which was from that movie Games of Thrones, shame. But I've seen him. But the best player though, Marcus Allen.
Yeah.
And now since he's working for the Colorado Buffaloes, his game may go down, and it may give me a chance to we do a thing out in Canton where we have this belt, like the WWE belt.
Yeah.
For whoever wins that day, you get to have that belt. And with that belt, everyone else has to buy you cocktails. So you go for that belt every day. And there's nothing like watching Marcus Allen try to come out there and beat Marshall Faulk. I'm like, you didn't do it, did you? No, I couldn't do it. I'm like, yeah, he's the best. But
have you had the belt?
No, I had the belt for one day. I'm the one who presented the belt. I had the idea.
And that was it.
That was it. That was the last time I seen the belt, man.
And NFL Hall of Famer John Randle's on the Sports Cage with us. He's speaking tonight here at the Rams dinner at the Connexus. All right, we're gonna before I let you go, we got to ask, who's going to be throwing the football for the Minnesota Vikings this year?
Well, so far it looks like we're going to have JJ. Every year I talk to our rookie class. So last year I had the chance to sit and talk to JJ, and he's a very well-spoken, smart young man, and with KOC, or Kevin O'Connell, I like to call him KOC, but with KOC and Crazy, I think we're in good hands with our organization, and whoever they decide that's going to be our leader, I support them. KOC has done, last year he was coach of the year.
Yeah.
What other better hands would you want to be in? KOC, man.
Yeah.
And but I think if they go with JJ, I think he's ready. I'm not real quarterback guy. I'm more of a defensive lineman now. They asked me about the defensive lineman. Oh yeah, we ready up front.
Yeah.
We just got those new additions last week, and so I had the pleasure of going over and conversating with those guys and congratulating them for coming to be Minnesota Vikings. So I'm thrilled about it. But as far as quarterback, JJ, well, I was going to say a quarterback is one thing, but for me, as an old pass rusher, you need that offensive line.
Yeah.
If you've got a really good offensive line, I could get back there, throw football, and look good because, man, you have all the time in the world, man.
Hey, our CFL team, the Saskatchewan Roughriders last year, we know about an offensive line. We had a lot of injuries last year.
Oh, you did?
Offensive line is key. John, thanks so much. Thanks for being here in Regina. Thanks for stopping by to chat with us. We really appreciate it.
Skol!
Yeah, there he is.
Awesome.
NFL Hall of Famer, former Minnesota Viking, John Randle joining us. We'll go to break here. We are live at the Connexus. It's the Ram Dinner on 620 CKRM. It's not local, but it's sporting, very intriguing. They are going into the fourth overtime.
Yep.
First game of the men's hockey CIS championship for Mount Royal and the Toronto Metropolitans. Going into the fourth overtime or fifth?
Fourth overtime.
Mount Royal is coached by Round Lake Bears forward Fiddler.
Really?
What's his name? No. So they lose out. He might be in the lineup.
Shots are 69-66.
What a heater.
Holy smokes.
What an absolute heater to start off the national championship there. All right. Locally tonight, not much going on, but if you didn't catch it earlier, recap it. AAA Midget Moose Jaw wins in double overtime 3-2 over Swift Current yesterday. They're going to game 5 in that series. Winner will play the Regina Pat Canadians
for the league championship.
Rumor is game 1 will be Sunday afternoon at the Sixer. Prairie Junior Hockey League, their backs are up against the wall. Regina Capitals, they lost 7-2 to Fort Knox last night. Shout out Zane Winter stopping 40 shots there. 3-0 series lead in the best of 7 for Fort Knox. Shout out Kenniston winning another banner. Sask Valley Hockey League last night over Kyle. Raymore, they won in double overtime over Lumsden 6-5. Game 3, 8 p.m. Saturday in Raymore. Not a Q, shout out Yellowgrass. Cody's down in Assiniboia. Maybe Cody's got a little bit more on the inside. Assiniboia, they lost 5-3, but they're still up 3-1 in that best of 7.
Holy smokes.
In the not a Q. So they're shifting her back to that beautiful barn in Assiniboia for game number 5. Curling, Canada beat the Swiss yesterday, and they're going to be into the playoffs.
In the 11th end?
Yeah. Italy and
China,
and then they're going to be advancing to play extra curling in the playoffs.
Yeah.
There, Western Hockey League. All of our Western Hockey League reports are for Extreme Hockey and Sport. Local shop in Regina. Umbrella Marketing if you need any of your team kits for ball, spring hockey, anything like that. And they're also dabbling in baseball now. The Pats are in Brandon tomorrow. Huge points for the Brandon Wheat Kings on the line. And the East Division standings are just tight as can be going into the final season.
PA's in Saskatoon tomorrow night.
Yes.
That's huge as well.
Home and home.
And then back to PA on Saturday.
I might drive to that PA for that. If that means anything, that barn will be electric. Prince Albert, Saskatoon, with 2 massive points. So that's a quick rundown locally, Sharky. What did we miss today? Anything we missed?
I don't think so.
It's getting busy in here, as you can hear in the background.
It's getting very loud and busy in here.
We're at the Regina Rams dinner, their main fundraiser. Coach McConkey joined us in hour 2. You can go back and listen to that on podcast anywhere. Arash Madani. Arash had a lot of great things to say about John Randle.
He was more excited than anybody that we were getting John Randle on today.
Dave Thomas had got Jeremy O'Day in hour 1. The CFL Combine starting today, more so tomorrow. But Jeremy O'Day and Dave Thomas, we're going to rerun that here in about 10 minutes time. So if you missed that one, you'll be able to catch that. I might go check some of it out on Saturday just to
see. You looked at your schedule? You are busy, man.
But the Athletic...
you got to be in Saskatoon on Saturday.
Nah, not till the afternoon.
Okay.
Just the athleticism.
Oh, I know.
Some of these athletes will be unbelievable. The sprints, the running. I was talking to one of our coworkers today, and they're talking about I think the bench press is on Sunday, maybe. So they saved the bench. Also
they
tomorrow,
saved the biggest for the last.
On the broadcast in hour 1, we are going to start the show with a new addition to our Rider broadcast team on the Rider Broadcast Network. Keeping it a secret from you and everybody else.
Oh, man.
You'll have to tune in tomorrow around 3:10 p.m. in around there. You'll find out our new addition to the Rider broadcast team. NHL tonight, too. Big games. Yeah. Calgary in Jersey.
Calgary's in the Montreal's in the playoff spot right now.
Right now. Oh, thanks, Kevin.
Right now.
Thanks, Kevin, on the text line, the Prairie Land Rentals text line, 936-6262. Ovi just sniped.
Really? What do we got?
7 more he needs.
7 to go.
Hey, Kevin, I don't know if you listened earlier. I said, is tonight the night he maybe gets 2, maybe 3? Does he pot a few?
I still think he does it this year. That's my thought. I think he's going to get her done.
Let it simmer over the summer.
Just so you guys know, apparently the longest CIS hockey game that ever happened was 4 overtimes, and it ended 11:53 into the fourth.
We just talked about that, Colson.
No, this is the longest one in history. So the one happening tonight has a chance to take that record. We'll see when it ends. It could take it. So we might be witnessing history, boys.
And it's game 1 of the tournament. How drained are those guys going to be? Whoever's advancing. That's a lot.
Still on 4-4.
We got a nice little interview with Resse Hamilton from Whitewood, Saskatchewan, of the Regina Pats coming up. And then, like I said, Dave Thomas will be back with that interview with Jeremy O'Day earlier today. That's going to be it for Sharky and I. Stay tuned for those 2 interviews. Regina Rams dinner. Thanks to them for having us here. Good job, Sharky.
Thanks, brother.
And I will catch you tomorrow, 3:00. SportsCage, streaming at sportscage.com, on X. And as always, the home of the Regina Rams, 620 CKRM.
Regina Pat defenseman number 6, Resse Hamilton. How does that sound coming from a guy that grew up in Whitewood to say that you're a member of the Regina Pats?
Yeah, it's obviously pretty special. There was a time when I think I was 10, I played on the Brick team. So that was also the Pats. So I think just coming back and playing with the older guys, it's pretty cool.
So playing on the team that is essentially your hometown team, I'm sure some of your friends, some of the guys you grew up playing with, are they asking your advice, your tips? Hey, what's it like?
Yeah, I think most of my buddies are in the league now, so it's kind of we all have some similarities. And then like Connor Bear, I've grown up with him my whole life, so to be on the same team as him, it's pretty special.
Tell me a little bit about what it's like being a Western Hockey League player. What is something that fans may not understand? Because you're a young man, you got lots of things going on.
Yeah, I think, when they see Western hockey players, it's kind of all about the hockey side. But I think there's lots of other things that come along with the league, like, community work, and, guys are still in school or in grade 11 and 12. So I think lots of people don't notice that outside of the rink. But yeah, I think that's it.
Tell me a little bit about that Brick tournament and your hockey journey. So take me right up. You started hockey when and where, and how did you get here?
Yeah, I started hockey when I was 3 in Whitewood. I had my dad as my coach until I was about, I want to say 13. Then I decided to move to Edmonton and played with NAX there. And during that, I got the opportunity to play on the Brick team. So I think I was 10 years old, got to play on Team Sask. So that was pretty cool with a couple of the teammates I have now. So it's been a full circle moment. It's pretty cool to be here now.
You were selected in the first round of the Western Hockey League draft by Calgary. What was that day like?
Yeah, it was pretty special. Leading up to the year, obviously, being from a small town in Saskatchewan, kind of the draft is the only thing that's on your mind. So when I heard my name get selected when I was at home on TV, it's obviously super cool. And yeah, it was probably one of the best days of my life up to this point.
Now, you were then moved from Calgary to Regina earlier this season, right before the big showcase game with the USA. What was that like? Yeah,
it was lots of mixed emotions. There was a lot going on at that time. With Calgary, we just finished getting off our US road trip. And then right after that, I got traded here. So I was in the middle of moving everything back to Regina, or closer to home, I guess. And then I played 2 games with the Pats and then had to go to Ontario and play in the CHL game, which was super cool. And then from there, flew to Kamloops and joined the Pats on the BC road trip. So it's nice to finally get settled in now. And yeah, it was a hectic time for sure.
So with the combined U.S. and BC division road trips, you're going to be a player in this league that'll have one of the most miles on them this year. What do you do to go ahead and pass the time?
Yeah, it's nice to, when teams are coming down to Regina and you say you haven't played, other guys haven't played them, it's nice to, be a little familiar with what the teams are like. So, obviously getting to play in BC and US, it was nice to, get out to the West. So, yeah, it's cool.
I had to double check my notes. 74th was the ranking of the NHL's mid-season rankings. Do you pay attention to that, or is there any way that you can avoid that?
Yeah, I try not to pay much attention to it. I think, in the end, it's kind of the scouts that are picking and not really the central scouting rankings. So I don't think many people pay attention to that except the players that are picked. So I kind of just tend to block it out, or try to anyway, and, continue on with the year.
If I have a bad day, generally there's not that many consequences, right? There might be somebody that says, oh, why didn't you do this, or what was the score in that? But for you, if you have a bad day, it can have some consequences. Does that bring with it pressure?
No, I don't think so. I think, if you're going to have a bad day, just tend to have a one-off and then get back to it the next day and, work even harder than you have been to, try show that you're consistent throughout the season. So I think that's just the biggest thing. I think one-off games aren't the end of the world as long as it doesn't keep on happening. And, I try not to get too much pressure on myself.
One pretty smart coach said, you can only control what you can control. How hard is it to control what's out of your control, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. It is tough at some points. I think, obviously in your drafter you do put pressure on yourself. Some people say you don't, but in the end you really do. So I think just trying to cancel all the extra noise out and just play your game, and then at the end of the year or in June or whenever the draft is, everything will all pan out, and you'll be selected by a team hopefully going into the next year.
So if I was to throw it out there, a perfect day of hockey, right? Maybe you're 6 goals, 6 assists, plus 12, right? If I could, and you could tell me your perfect day that doesn't have anything to do with hockey, what would it be?
I think if it has, nothing to do with hockey, I think just getting up early, getting a workout in, kind of just feeling good about yourself, feeling like you accomplished stuff in the day. I think I'm still in school, so getting some school done, and nothing to do with hockey though, so just feeling good about yourself.
I think you might have just won an award as the perfect day just included school. We'll make sure we highlight that. But are there any hobbies outside of the rink?
I always enjoy golfing in the summertime, going to the lake with my friends and family. Got into pickleball this summer, not competitively, but I never really knew about it before, but I found it pretty fun, and I think I'll continue going with that too.
Anybody on the team that you'd want to square off with in a pickleball match, like just right now?
We have a ping pong table out in there too, so it's kind of similar. So I'd like to challenge some of the better ping pong players. Can't think of them off the top of my head though.
Take me through a day in the life of Resse Hamilton when it comes to game day.
Yeah, so I'd get up around, I want to say 9:45 or 9:30, I guess, be at the rink by 10. Sometimes morning skate, sometimes don't. And then say I'm at the rink for an hour or so, stretch and stuff, and then go home, have a nap, eat my pregame around 3:30ish, and then be at the rink by 4:30 and prepare for the game.
Chicken and tortellini for that pregame?
No, chicken and rice usually, yeah.
And do you cook it yourself or no?
No, I don't. My billets cook it.
If I said, okay, you're on your own, well, you got to cook supper, what are you making?
I think I would still try give it a shot, but I don't know. House might be burned down if I tried, so I'm not sure.
5 alarm, look out. So obviously your dad was a big influence, having coached you up through your minor hockey days. Who else has influenced you as far as the person that you are and the player that you are?
I think my dad's brother, he's influenced me quite a bit. He was in the Army for I want to say 10 years-ish, and I think he's taught me a lot about, resilience and stuff like that. So I think just taking little things from him. He was also involved in sports and then kind of continued on and wanted to join the Army. So I think he's pretty determined, and I want to be just like him as well.
When I was coaching my kids, they would look forward to that ride home from the rink with Dad. Good or bad, believe it or not. Do you still look forward to hearing from Dad after the game?
Yeah, I think that's never going to change. It's been something that's been with me for, I think, since I was 3, like I said before. He's coached me since then. So, yeah, I think always hearing from him is nice, and I think I see I see them quite a bit now that I'm in Regina. They're in Whitewood, so they don't have to plan their lives around coming up and taking a trip to Calgary. It's just kind of quick in and out to Regina, so it's nice to see my parents after every game now.
Last question is the hardest one always. Why do you wear number 6?
I was just given number 6. I mean, I guess you could say I've always been number 9 my whole life, so I guess switching it around. But when I was first traded here, I was just given number 6. So I guess I was number 6 in Team Canada events too. But even with that, I was just given number 6. So it's nice to switch it around, I guess.
There you go, Resse. A pleasure meeting you. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me.